regular side. Right, so the first part when we're playing this from a concept perspective is I need to understand where his pressure is, and I need to understand how much he's given me. You know, so, because he can play this a few different ways. This right here this is not of any concern to me. There's not a lot of pressure here, right? I can slide this in real easy, and I can start making my escape, right? So I get like if you really wanted to hold me here, I'm like, okay. Right? So now, now we've got a little different game going on. I can already feel the way he dropped his hip, to lower his chest pressure, right? I can feel that's a lot tighter. He's doing a lot of work to make sure he has good head and arm control, right? So it's gonna be hard for me to do a lot up here, so what I need to use is my legs to start opening things up. So what I want to do is I want to get some mobility of this arm. To do that, I need you to open this up. So I need to threaten sweeping you, right? So I start pendulum to get some movement, right? Once I can get this, now I can come back in with my frames, and now we can go a whole lot of different directions because I'm already out. Right? I could just simply slide out and catch this and come up. Interesting. Right? Like it really is going to depend on what's going to happen next, right? But the concept becomes simple, right? Like I have to feel where your pressure is. He's doing a good job of not driving hard this way, right? He's really just heavy straight down. So some people drive this way, which makes it easier to push them. So when they're just, content on just wedging and just pressuring you, now I've got to create some momentum. I'm not going to be able to just push it, right? So I've got to use some momentum to get that, right? And I immediately wedge so we can't get it back in, right? And then now becomes one of those, where do I want to take this? Right, what starts opening up? Makes sense? So put me in side control, because you're going to do it differently than him. Right, so you got me? This is what you want?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Yeah, sure? You over there. Okay. And you really want side control and you don't want me to move, right?
Yeah.
There's 30 seconds left, a minute left in the match. You're up on points. You're just trying to stall out for the victory. You're exhausted, right? Mm-hmm. You got me this time?
Sure. Yep.
Okay. So, right? So, what's different is obviously he's on his knees. He's squeezing more here and here, not so much chest pressure, right? Mm-hmm. So, so I can, the same thing doesn't quite work as well, right? But because he doesn't have a lot of chest pressure, I can bump him and get my frame in, right? Because he's not heavy in his chest. All right. Now, when I get this, I want to go thumb post in the armpit. Get out of this habit.
That's a very bad habit.
So, because people will attack this.
Yeah, my frame gets crushed there too.
Yeah. If I thumb post and he starts trying to attack that hand like Americana type stuff, then I can just simply hide it. All right. So I get that thumb post in there, and now I've already got my wedge, I've got my space, I can breathe, and I can start working whatever escapes I want. Does that make sense? Cool. Can you take the camera from her?
Oh Lord.
Put me in side control. All right, 'cause everybody does it a little differently. Yeah, right? So it's a little different, right? She's got kind of a judo side, but she's keeping the compression and the with this, right? So You know, so this is a little different scenario. Like there's no way I'm gonna be able to slide my knee in here, right? So I gotta play this like a judo side, but right now I can't get the space I need, right? So what I've gotta kind of do is I've gotta kind of pop her to start getting my hands back in. Because I need to get this elbow to the mat to start framing this bottom hip, right? Now that I have that frame, I can come across and get my thumb post, right? And now we have all of our options here. Oh, yeah, we can start hitting our options here, or I can simply go knee, elbow,
Back to guard.
back to guard, whatever the case may be there. Does that make sense? Right? So when it comes to getting out of the side control, like I really have to feel where their pressure is, right? And you know, so I can use that pressure against them, right? Where are they heavy? Where are they light? What opportunities does that give me to find my escapes? Does that make sense? Cool. So I want you to kind of pair up and take turns, you know, and give each other different versions of side control, you know, and kind of play with the concept, right? And then as you have questions, just let's, you know, troubleshoot them on the fly, right?
Cool.
Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, this is when they settle in and get a full side control on you. The easiest way to get out of side control is to not let that happen, right? If I never let you fully settle and pin me to the mat, then it's gonna be easier for me to get out. So the first thing that involves is not being flat, right? So if I can stay on my side as much as possible, you know, then I can make these plays. The next biggest part of that is realizing when your guard is passed and starting to go into your counters instead of continuing to fight the guard pass. When your guard is already passed and you're still fighting the pass, that's when they settle, right? You know, so a lot of times as they make whatever transition towards passing your guard, if you just realize in that moment, like, oh, my guard is passed, where can I move to, right? I can get off of my back. Sometimes that does mean I have to turn away, right? I may have to turn and show my back, you know, but as long as I understand what the play is there, it's not horrible, right? You know, so, but it becomes one of those situations like whatever guard pass you want, right? Right? Like you're never flattening me out, right? You know, it's just one of those situations. Every time someone starts to knee slice me and they start to make their way through, I've already got my underhooks, right? Now I'm attached to you, right? You know, it's just having that realization that my guard is passed, right? And what's going to get you good at that is letting people pass your guard so that you can play the counters, right? You know, once you realize what guard pass they're trying to do, let them do it. You know, it's just so you can work on countering the situation, right? If you come in and go headquarters on me, and I'm like, oh, he wants to hip switch past me. So, right?
Yeah.
Like I know as you're hip switch passing, you can't gain head and arm control, right? So before you land, settle, control, I can move. But if I'm still busy fighting your pass, then I'm not moving. And then that gives you time to settle and control me. Make sense? You know, this is true of every pass that has ever happened anywhere in jiu-jitsu, right? I can't control you all the way through, unless they have head and arm control as they pass. Right? That's the difference. That's why if you can pass with head and arm control, right? That's why Gordon Ryan does it that way. So now that's a different story. But that's why you can't let them have head and arm control. So, as long as I deny head and arm control as they're passing, I'm good.
So he's just usually going with half guard, collecting the head and arm, and then
He goes, yep. He puts he denies the butterfly, gets head and arm control, forces him into half guard, and then he no hands passes him straight out of the warm-ups. So, and then he walks the arms up. He goes S mount, and he finishes that.
Speaking of walking the arms up, a concept for that as well. Like where I feel like I lose those grips a lot, those underhooks, because I'm actively trying to like push the arm out and up. It's a weird angle there.
Yeah.
So
Yes. So let me use you. So this is where you have to play a game between, can I do both or do I have to focus on one, right? With Chris, he's bigger than me. I'm probably just going to focus on one side, right? Because if I just try to do both, like we can play this game, right? And I'm probably going to have to settle on one. Right? Because the reality is, if I have one, I can load my whole body up against his arm.
He's done that to me before.
Right? So the moment I come under, like I shift my entire body weight. Right? Because, I can take my weight off of him right here because what's he going to do? Try to push me and roll me?
Yeah.
Like if he does, that's cool because then he's extending his arm for me. Right? Or even if he pushes me here, right?
Right. Okay.
Right? He's making it easier for me. Right? So I get here and I make this turn and I come under. Now I use my whole body as I drive. And so I'm driving this way. Right? I'm driving his elbow this way. And then it starts to come around. And I grab the top of his head. Once I have this, he's not getting it back. Right? So it's just creating that angle where it's not just my arm versus their arm.
Right. Okay.
If I'm squared up to him, it's just my arm versus their arm.
That's all mostly shoulder there too.
Right. And it's like I can do it and I can gain an inch at a time, but it's a really annoying game. Or I can cut the angle and I can use my whole body and go whoop. So, get big chunks at a time.
Okay.
Right? Preparing as they're passing, so what you can do is just kind of pair up and have them, have the partner just do whatever type of pass, and you just want to kind of go with it, right? So like if he does a double ankle toss on me, right? Yeah, like not fighting it. I've already messed up. I already know the pass is happening. I'm just going to go with it, right? I'm going to start setting up what I can counter to start getting back to either a guard or a submission attempt or a reversal, something of that nature, right? So whatever, type of pass there is, you're just looking for opportunities. The big thing when I can square up to them, I'm usually looking for underhooks of some kind. Underhooks are king. If I have underhooks, you're never going to flatten me out, right? If you're forcing me to turn away, then I'm usually looking to turtle and get back to my guard, right? You can also Granby back to your guard if you'd rather do that. Does that make sense? So, so let's, play back and forth. Your partner is just going to pass your guard however they pass, and you're just going to react by either turning in, trying to get underhooks and do something with it, or if they turn you away, you're turtling up, going back to your guard, or grabbing back into your full guard.
Cool.
Right? Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Make the switch to the wall flash is because I feel this knee starting to make its way in.
Oh, okay.
Right? So if I feel him starting to get turned to his side more than I want, and that's starting to come in, I go wall flush.
Okay.
Right? So, and then he's going to keep turning towards me because he can. Then I come.
That's when you switch and put your toes and turn. Okay.
Right? So, like I have to, keep that knee from coming in. So the moment I feel he starts to get that hip out, like I'm blocking that and making my transitions.
You know who's really good at that? Max. Max is really good at that. That's why he keeps getting me to that north-south shit. Interesting.
Yeah. The moment my hip is no longer enough, I got to put something else in place. Right? But yeah, it's a good question. But yeah, it's, with guys who are really strong and just want to hold you and crush you and everything, sometimes it's just a little bit at a time, because it's the same with like Brian. Brian's, it's usually twister side, where he crushes the snot out of you.
Yep.
Right? So put me in a really nasty twister side.
Yeah, it's usually where it is.
Right? Keep me here. Ready?
Yep.
Go.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Centimeter at a time.
Just every little bit, yeah.
So, the biggest thing is when you don't get big movements right away and you really feel that pressure,
Yeah.
your instinct is to start panicking.
Yeah,
And you're
more
like,
movement.
You're like, oh God, I'm stuck. Okay, big bridge, and then they're just waiting for it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you're getting more tired. I'm gonna make it tighter.
Yeah,
Right? So, so I just wanna, my biggest thing is I'm like, breathe, act like you've been here before. Like, oh, that's all you got? Oh, come on, big boy, really?
Yeah.
And then you just slowly, surely make your way out. Yeah, it sucks, but you just have to, realize you got into a bad spot and just kind of slowly chip away at it till you make your way through.